For the longest time in this channel, you have asked for twin tests. Two cars that are similarly spec'd, two cars that are similarly priced, and we thought we'd get together with Sinead from Carsireland.ie to bring along a car of our own. Sinead, what's this?
So today, myself and Bob are going to compare two of probably the most relevant and deadliest rivals in the SUV market at the moment, which is, in the red corner from me, the Honda CR-V Hybrid.
And in the white corner from me, the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid.
So today I am going to do my best to show you around the CR-V Hybrid. Bob will be showing you around the RAV4 Hybrid, and if you're in the market or if you're looking at one or both of these cars, hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a better idea which one better suits your needs.
So if you're interested in twin tests like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Of course you're watching it here, but you can also subscribe to Carsireland.ie, the two biggest car channels in Ireland. Come on. So we're going to start this review back to front. What we're going to start with is the Honda CR-V boot. So over to you, Sinead. Show us how big this boot is.
Sure. So these are two hugely practical cars. They're massive on the outside and they've both got very big boots. Now the only thing about the CR-V is that fancy electric tailgate.
You'd be asleep.
The only thing is you do lose a few litres in the CR-V Hybrid than you do on the petrol model because of the battery pack, but I don't think it's anything significant. It's still a massively large boot. It's a really good size. It's actually quite nicely finished. You've got felt covering everywhere, nice flat load lip. No shopping bag hooks, unfortunately. None. Which is a bit of a surprise.
Demerit points right there.
Let's see how easy the parcel shelf is to pop out. That's very easy, even for me.
And you can reach that, which is good as well, because often they're so far back, you actually have to kind of half climb into them.
Exactly. That's another thing that I really like about the CR-V is when you need to drop these back seats, it is so easy. It is literally the pull of a lever. And look how soft and smooth and flat those seats go down.
It's quiet when it drops, yeah.
Really premium feeling, and also really handy if you are loading larger items or longer items in here and you don't want to kind of faff around and have to push the seats forward. It literally is the pull of a lever.
So it's about 500 litre boot?
Thereabouts, 497, we'll give it 5.
Okay, so they lose over to the battery hybrid. Let's have a look at the other hybrid car and see if it has a bigger boot or a smaller boot. Come on, we look at the boot of this now. So one remarkable thing I have to show you is the speed of the tailgate. You ready with this?
Good or speed bad?
Be patient. Wait a minute. Still not done. You grow old better for that to open. But anyway, so boot here is a bit bigger, 542 litres. Toyota being kind of clever with their battery pack where it is, what it's doing, it hasn't really intruded in the boot space. This is only hybrid. Demerit points, no carpets, all plastic in here apart from the centerpiece where you're going to put things. But even over here, there's some flat panels there where things kind of scratch about a bit and stuff moves. There is room for a full-size spare wheel, which is good. And this cover does come out fairly handy as well. You can take it out easy enough. But there's no way of dropping these seats from back here. You have to lean in and catch that handle or do it from inside. So you can just about reach the handle in here and push, but it just flops down.
Yeah, it is easier in the CR-V.
Much, and it's not completely flat. The CR-V has a much flatter floor. This has a slight ramp to it, so if you decide to put anything long in there that's going to roll back this way, it's going to roll back out again. But the boot space is big.
Have we any shopping bag hooks?
None.
None in here either?
Nothing. They seem to leave that. They have a 12-volt socket and have one little cubby hole over there in the corner, but that's as much as you're going to get in the back seat.
Tell you one thing that I find about this car, it takes forever to shut.
That would involve a test then. We're going to have a race. I'm going to get a stopwatch out and we're going to race to see which one closes fastest. Hold on, stopwatch. Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go. No cheating. Mine beep.
Come on, come on. Closed.
Closes 7 seconds. Mine's fully locked in 12.4 seconds. So you can't drive, just so you know, you can't drive off while the boot's still closing. So you have to wait for the full 12 seconds for it to do the thing. So
I'd be gone 5 seconds by now, in other words.
You're already leaving number 11s up the road.
Okay, I think I'm going to give that one to the CR-V.
CR-V has that in boot space. Now, next, back seats. Right, back seat. First time doing a twin test in a back seat.
Yes.
Normally it's just me sitting back here.
This is the CR-V, by the way, CR-V back seat.
That's a lot of room.
I have a lot of room. Obviously, we're different height. I'm about 5'6". Yourself?
6'1".
6'1", and you have plenty.
I have tons, yeah, loads.
I have absolutely loads, and that is my driving position still. Plenty headroom. This one has a glass sunroof.
Glass, that's nice.
Eat into it a little bit, but I still have loads. Even you do.
Yeah, loads, yeah. No space there for the spiky hair, no problem.
Definitely another strong point for the CRV and the RAV4, in fairness, is the back seats are enormous. You've also only got a really tiny transmission tunnel here, so you will fit someone in the middle without too much stress.
This is 4-wheel drive.
It is.
Yeah, so there would be a little bit of a step in the back seat anyway, just a small bit, but it is very tiny and you will fit. You might get a third body in there, maybe. Just.
I think, yeah. I mean, obviously a child would be more comfortable.
Yeah, you get a little bit of elbow room, but you will fit 3 people.
I mean, in a pinch, it would be fine for a shorter journey. Yeah, lots of creature comforts as well. You've got the pull-down centre armrest.
My kids call that an Ella. I don't know why that happened.
What's an Ella now?
I don't know. They made it up. It's a word they made up, but they've called it an Ella ever since.
I like
no ski lift.
No ski
load.
hatch. Do you use ski hatches a lot?
No, but it's just for an IKEA thing. When you have 2 kids and 2 adults and you have an IKEA plank between the 2 of them, it's great.
Very true. I've never used one,
Dangerous.
so maybe it'll be the one time that I do need one, that I don't have one, and that car will get it. Got little magazine holders there. I like that they're not nets.
Yeah,
Tidier
so do I,
looking.
yeah.
2 USB ports.
Oh, proper ones as well, 2.5
exactly.
volt proper
They haven't
ones.
bothered with the 12-volt charging sockets,
event.
which they're getting more awkward these days, I think. The
They
USB
are, yeah.
so much handier.
And there's USB-C now, and there's all these other versions of USBs that are coming. That's
Exactly.
just, you just want to charge your phone.
Exactly. Aircon for the people in the back. You can't control the temperature, but you can.
At least to get a bit of a gust back here.
A bit of a gust, and you can aim it towards yourself. Or
It's
away
a very
from yourself.
nice cabin.
That sunroof does wonders for
Really
it.
lifts
The
it.
sunroof is really nice. That with the light interior, it is.
And it's beige interior.
The beige, it's very nice.
It's very good. I like the interior.
It is. Yeah.
Time for testing a RAV4 now.
Okay,
Let's go.
let's have a look. Okay, RAV4 back seat.
Yes. This is smaller,
Do you think?
I think.
I mean, I feel like I have the same legroom. I definitely have more headroom. But
That
then
seat
again,
is set for me now as well. So that's set for someone who's 6'1" in front of you. So
Right, yeah.
that-
Yeah, so that's decent, I think. And I definitely have more headroom. Then again, this one
Loads.
doesn't have the sunroof. They are different specs, which we'll talk about more shortly. But in general, it is really spacious back here as well. Again, only a very small transmission tunnel. Could fit
and funny, this is a
someone else
2-wheel
in
drive,
there.
so it doesn't actually need a transmission tunnel.
Yeah.
But they must have, because you can get them 4-wheel drive, so they must just leave the hump there for if they wanted. Now, it's the exhaust system, of course, as well goes through that same sort of
Possibly,
stuff.
but again, in fairness, it is very small compared to other
Yeah.
cars. So it's not going to impact too badly on legroom for your middle seat passenger. Pretty
Good
much the
armrest,
same
couple
story.
holes,
You've got your
yeah.
leather armrest, your cup holders. Again, 2 USB ports.
And they're both exactly the same USB port.
Pretty much, it's very, very similar back
It
there.
is, yeah. Very similar spec. Can we fit 3 in the middle? 1 in the middle? Yeah, we would.
I'll go then.
We go again. Yeah, because you're the one that's the right size for the middle seat. I don't think I
just
sit in the
barely.
middle
I don't
seat.
think I'd be too happy on a longer journey with 2 more adults, but in a pinch you could.
You still have headroom.
A child would be fine. Yeah, you do. In fairness, it doesn't. You don't lose too much headroom in the middle, which is good.
It is darker, but we are dealing with a black interior on this one rather than the kind of cream.
The sporty
Yeah,
stuff,
this is a very dark interior.
dark and sporty. I don't have a magazine holder.
No, and I have one
You
here.
have one. Apparently, that is because that one is actually for the driver to put there. Reading
yeah,
material or
you'd
map
reach
or something.
around,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
from that
something
side.
to kind of to pop in. I didn't know that. I thought that they were just discriminating against one of the passengers.
It's a case of discrimination against the passengers. Still, it's good. Right.
Very neck and neck here. I don't think I could call it.
You couldn't really. The space is about the same. The level of equipment is exactly the same. Exactly, even 2 vents, 2 12 volt or 2 USB ports. It's just the
settle on a
colour draw for the back seat. I think. Yeah, one same as the other.
Okie doke.
Front seats.
Yeah.
Right. On the CRV.
Okay.
Show me the interior.
Welcome to the front of the CRV. Now, it's a nice interior. It's very Japanese, and what I mean by that is it's kind of very functional. Feels very hard wearing.
Yeah.
Personally, it's wood.
It's wood.
It's wood. That's one thing. It's a Marmite thing. Some people love this little kind of false wood trim. I'm not a big fan of it.
I don't like it there, but it looks okay there. Why does it look so
Yeah,
different
I
here?
agree.
It looks
Actually, it's
shiny
just
or
maybe a little
something.
bit too much. I feel like it's just a little bit overstyled. What I do like, I like the integration of the infotainment system. I like that everything is so kind of intuitive. You know where everything is. And I also think that Japanese car manufacturers get the screen to physical button ratio right a lot of the
Yes.
time. So you've always got a volume control. You've always got dials for your aircon.
They feel
We know
very nice.
how you feel about knobs.
Yes, bring back knobs. I have a t-shirt available, merch available that says bring back knobs on it. I should have bought a t-shirt, I actually got one.
You should have. So both of them score well on that front, I think. It's a nice size steering wheel. This one's leather covered, feels nice in your hand. Lots of space in the front. I have the seat up a little bit. We've got electric adjustment in this. We'll talk more about spec.
In fairness, Sinead is tiny.
I'm not that small.
She's dinky.
Storage wise, 2 cup holders. You've got a little, I always like when you've got like a perfectly sized spot to put your keys, especially in a keyless car.
Yeah.
Otherwise you end up like throwing them in the door bin, they rattle around, all that kind of thing.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, this is
Size
cool,
of that thing.
isn't it? So you've got the armrest lifts up, and then inside all sorts of stuff. You've got this slidey thing. You could, and it comes out. Now, whether I can get it back in is another story. We've got 1, 2, 3 USB ports down there, and a 12-volt socket, and another 12-volt socket. 2 more USBs in the back.
That's brilliant. That little storage area. I know you'd lose things.
Sorry, my mistake. 2 USB ports and a, what is that?
What is that?
It's a HDMI cable.
That looks like a HDMI port.
Why is there a HDMI port?
Can you play something on TV?
Maybe.
Maybe you can play television or video or something.
Speaking of, yeah, maybe you can hook up a video game.
And they've put a pad there for your knee. So what's that? On this, it's
Up
a very
to a
bright
point.
interior, but it's down to spec a little bit here because this has a cream leather interior and a glass roof.
I do love a cream leather interior. I think it
sounds
really
good.
lifts the interior. Also,
Yeah.
we've got the panoramic glass sunroof.
Right, let's look at the RAV4.
Let's.
Okay, Sinead, RAV4.
Okay, show me around your interior.
Mid-spec, so darker, no glass roof, so it feels heavier and darker in here. But basically, we have the same kit. I have heated seats in the front, with one small difference to it, and I have an actual gear stick, which is off over this direction.
I have heated seats as well, just to...
What?
I have heated seats too.
You have heated seats too?
It
Right.
is very much neck and neck spec.
Have you got auto headlamps? We're going
I'm pretty sure I do, we will, yeah.
We're going to have to sit in the 2 cars and do this over.
I quite like this blue trim across
Yes.
on the sport model.
And I like this little cubby hole because it's actually got a little lip on it, so you can throw your phones in there if you wanted to,
Yeah,
or
that's
in
pretty
here.
cool.
Multiple places to put things storage wise. Storage now, this has a fairly big bin, nowhere near the size of the Rav, the CRV bin, and it has this thing, which I don't know where that's. I think it's supposed to go in like this, or maybe like that, or something. You know, to be a tray on top of the trays. 12-volt sockets in here, or sorry, 2.1 amp charging ports in there.
USBs, yeah?
Yeah, both USBs. No other. There's no HDMI port. You have a HDMI port,
We've
but we
no
don't know
idea
what
what
it's for.
it's
I do like those knobs. I like knobs in general, but these are rubber coated.
They look great and they feel great, and I just know from turning those, they are still going to feel and work just as well in 20 years. You can just tell they're
Yep.
really solid.
Other than that, you're kind of in the same realm. I mean, the infotainment system is about as
It
bad.
feels very similar. I mean, there's a decent bit of headroom, and
It
nice
just
bit of
feels-
shoulder width. You're not going to be, you know,
Yeah.
you're nice and far
Nice
away from
armrest
your
and
passenger / driver.
This is basically the same spec, same everything.
The only thing I'm not so keen on in the RAV4 is the placement of the infotainment. I think
No,
it's a little
it's
bit awkward there. It's a little bit plonked on. I
Yeah.
think it would look better if it was integrated. But as far as both of them go, I don't think.
The infotainment system?
Yeah.
It's a disaster zone in both of them, to be honest with you. I think it is. Look, it works in both. They both work brilliantly.
Yeah.
They do the job perfectly.
I agree, and in that sense, they're both very good in
Yeah.
that they do. I think the graphics on both let them down slightly. They're just it's very Japanese.
It's
It's a little
very
bit early
Japanese,
Sega Mega Drive. Maybe that's what the HDMI cable is for.
Plug in your PlayStation into it. But I've had luxury brands of cars that have had infotainment systems that don't work today. You know, you plug in your phone and Apple CarPlay doesn't operate or something doesn't work on it, and it's a frustration straight away. These two systems work 100% of the time, even if they look a bit weird.
Apple CarPlay.
Yeah. Have you got Apple CarPlay?
I have Apple CarPlay.
Oh no! Let us down. There's no Apple CarPlay in this, no Google
Not yet.
Android,
Apparently,
no.
it's coming as an update over the next year or so. So the rumor
No,
has
where
it.
they're going to put
Right
it.
now.
The screen is hardly able to cope with what it's got. They're on Apple CarPlay as well. If it has to be retrograde, so if you're going to buy it, whatever you buy today will not have Apple CarPlay on it until next year.
In a nutshell.
The other thing is your car makes noise at low speeds. It makes
Artificial
an
noise,
artificial
noise, yeah,
whine
that's right,
sound.
yeah.
This doesn't. You don't have to make it. That's not the law yet, but it will become law soon in the EU that all cars have to make some sort of noise. But right now, this one makes no noise.
So do you just have to shout out the window when you're moving on.
Yeah, pretty much. Because if you beep the horn behind someone who thinks you just know you're there,
I'm on the move.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's all going to come down to how to drive, really, isn't it, I think?
Yeah. Maybe we should take a look at that next. So the CR-V is powered by a 2-litre hybrid powertrain, pushing out 184 PS. And the hybrid system on this is slightly different to that of the RAV4, and it's worked on what's called an IMMD, or the Intelligent Multi-Mode Drive. And basically what it means is that even when it's out of EV mode and gone into hybrid mode, when the engine kicks in, instead of powering the car, what it's essentially doing is working as a generator to continue to power the electric motor. So you are in hybrid mode a good proportion of the time. As a result, the drive is really nice. You've got that nice smooth EV feel. For most of the time, you're obviously emitting less CO2 while you're doing that, and it is a more efficient way to get around. I have been averaging today 6.4 litres per 100 kilometres. I think the WLTP figure is in and around 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres. And bearing in mind that this is actually the all-wheel drive model. So I don't think that's bad at all. And like I said, today Bob has taken me down to the sticks. So I was on the N7 and M7 for a good proportion of that journey. During the week, in and around the suburbs, my more normal driving style, I was averaging about 6.1, which isn't bad at all. As for what it's like to drive, as I said about my first impressions of the RAV4, these big kind of hybrid SUVs, they're not exactly a laugh a minute. None of them are that exciting to drive, but as they go, I think I probably prefer the handling of this, and I prefer that it's quieter inside. You don't get that kind of thing about the RAV4 is once you go over 30-40, you start to get that kind of whine from the CVT, the ECVT gearbox. It starts to get quite vocal, whereas this stays quiet a good proportion of the time. So that's my 2 cents. It just pips it for me, but I will be very interested to hear what Bob has to say on the RAV4 now.
So I know we've looked at all kinds of interior, exterior bits and pieces, but actually to drive the RAV4 is actually rewarding enough. It is a 2-wheel drive, and it's powered by a 218 horsepower unit combined between a 2.5 litre petrol and the hybrid system underneath as well. It's very quiet. At lower speeds, it's very quiet. On the motorway though, this gets very loud, and that is an issue for this car. I do find the cabin noise is quite high in here. So when you combine the 2.5 litre petrol with the hybrid system, you get 218 horsepower. It's very good, very useful. CVT noise is kept to a minimum, still there, but it is at a minimum. So when you floor it, you hear more of the engine than you do of the gearbox, so the whine is kind of gone out of it. But it is responsive. 218 horsepower will get you 0 to 60 fairly rapidly. It feels urgent, it feels good. I'd prefer to see this in a 4-wheel drive, maybe a higher spec one. This sport model is actually quite nice. I do have active cruise control, I do have heated seats and things in the car. It's an enjoyable drive, it's a nice place to be. It's not unpleasant. It's only when you get to higher speeds that the rumble from the back of the car starts to become really noticeable. Around town, in traffic, you're not going to notice a thing, pure silence. Most of the time, about they say 50% of the time, 40-50% of the time, it's actually in hybrid mode, so it's running on electricity. When you're stopping traffic or hanging about the town, that's what you're going to hear, silence. When you go out on the motorway though, the rumble is there. So for that respect, the Honda would have it on the quietness inside the cabin. But pound for pound, you're looking at basically the same car in a different guise. You'd have to split hairs to figure out which one of the interiors or which one's better to drive. You really would have to come up with a pile of tests to try and figure it out, and I reckon you'd still end up around the same score for both ones. Still, I do like the RAV4. I do think it looks better out of the two of them, and I'd probably overall be happier owning a RAV4 than I would be owning the CR-V, just because of the looks. CR-V is excellent, RAV4 is excellent, but my vote tends to go a little bit towards the RAV4 for that. Right, Sinead, we have to pick one of these two cars to win this twin test. You have to. There's no other cars on sale in Ireland right now, and I'm giving you the money to buy either one of them.
Okay.
Which one are we going for?
So if we go backwards, I think we gave the boot to the CR-V,
boot.
Not on size, but on practicality.
It's the fully flat bit. It's all carpeted inside. There is some small touches to it, and of course you got those two handles that drop the seat.
It was a good boot. The back seat was more or less neck and neck.
Yeah, exactly the same. Actually, two cup holders, same thing.
The interior, not much in it either.
No. We have to be very careful here because the interior of that is from a different spec, so it's high whiteness and glowing.
It is brighter, and we have the sunroof from the executive spec. In terms of spec, they're pretty much neck and neck if you were to go like for like.
Yes, they are, yeah. And price is pretty much the same as well. Now, Toyota have 5 grades and Honda have 3, but if you pick the same sort of spec, you'll get both.
When you level up the spec levels, it's very similar. Then the drive, I prefer the CR-V hybrid.
I'd like the Sportliness of the RAV4, but it's very close. The CR-V is quieter on the motorway.
Yeah,
this is quite loud on the motorway. This, when you're out at 120 kilometers an hour, that cabin has quite an echo to go with it.
It's definitely a more peaceful cabin, I think. Right, but if with your own money, which one are you going for?
Here's my problem. If it was my own money, I think 80% of happy ownership is looking at the car out the window and being proud of your purchase. Looking at it and going, I bought that car and I think it's cool. And in that respect, it has to go for Toyota. So the RAV4 looks better, generally.
Okay, so quite shallow if you ask me, but I'm gonna stick with my CR-V. Maybe it's not the prettiest one out of the two of them, but it pips it for me slightly on practicality, and I think it's nicer to drive. So I'm sticking with my CR-V.
If you want me to pick one for driving, I go CR-V. Weirdly.
You've bought the RAV4 already, sorry.
It's so close between the two, is it? They really have to split hairs, and it's only one of them's only winning over the other because of very small
I do
detail.
think it's definitely going to depend on the customer and what's important to you.
Yeah.
If you're shallow like Bob, you'll go for the RAV4.
True.
Look, we hope you found this helpful anyway, and that it has helped in your decision. There are obviously lots of other ones that you should be considering if you're in this market. Why not have a look at the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV?
Yeah.
It's another very frugal option.
And Japanese as well, same sort of thing. PHEV, plug-in hybrids. You're getting that same idea too.
That's it.
Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully by now you've hit the subscribe button on both our channels. That's Carsireland.ie and my own channel here where you've seen this video. If you want to have more detail when it comes to this kind of video, leave a comment down below. I really need to know whether you like this twin testing. We get Sinead back on it. She may convince her to do another twin test on some sporty cars.
And let us know which one you prefer.
Yeah, that's important as well. There's a poll at the top you can check out and vote which one you prefer, which one you think you should win. But leave a comment. Let us know why you want to choose one over the other.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
See you on the far side.